Good evening. Few fights have grabbed as much publicity and inspired the headline writers to such superlatives in the build-up as last night's confrontation between Marvin Hagler, the undisputed world middleweight champion, and Roberto Duran, the Panamanian street fighter who holds the WBA light middleweight title. Why? Well, Hagler has to be the most powerful and destructive fighting machine for years, and in a long and bruising career, Duran has won 3 world titles, and the fact that he could make ring history by becoming a world champion at a 4th different weight was a major contribution. And then, of course, there was the money. It could be a £7 million haul for Hagler, and for Duran, not much less. And that made the fight the richest ever. Yes, record receipts would top £34 million. Compare their ring records. Well, Marvelous Marvin had 61 fights, winning 57, 48 of those inside the distance. And the only blemishes, 2 defeats, they were years ago and both avenged, and 2 draws. Hands of Stone Duran had fought 80 times, winning all but 4 of them, and 57 of his victories had been by KOs or stoppages. Well, despite all the brouhaha that the fight evoked, experts appraised it much more realistically, quoting Hagler as a 4-to-1 on bet, and Duran as having no chance. Well, that assessment was based on the Panamanian's comeback, at best at times checkered, and the win for his 3rd world title was against an inexperienced Davey Moore, whose career spanned but 12 fights. Mind you, it was that 8-round knockout that earned him this crack at Hagler. With me is Mark Kaler, who won the British middleweight title just a few weeks ago, and who obviously aspires to the world title, and we'll get his views on the fight later. But now let us join that packed and expectant house at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, with thousands of them waiting to welcome the challenger. At ringside for ITV, Reg Guthridge.
80 fights, 176. Unquestionably one of the all-time greats of the fight game, particularly as a lightweight. 11 years ago, in that war with Kenny Buchanan, he defeated him in Madison Square Garden. You won't see much expression. This is a serious Duran comparatively. He's quite an eccentric character out of the ring. He climbs in right above me here. Just listen to the crowd roar. The young Duran really made far more of a show of it than this. This fellow perhaps knows what's in front of him tonight, and he's really got to be at best. So it's stars and stripes forever then for the introduction of the champion Hagler. As usual, got that shaven head of his covered in the crimson hood, the velvet hood. Really warming up. This man has total concentration, the Jekyll and Hyde of the fight game. Walks around like a stockbroker when he's not boxing, and he really admits he's a monster when the bell rings. So the self-tagged Marvelous Marvin Hagler, 29 years old. He was 31, but he produced the birth certificate, and I have seen it. He is genuine 29. He entered the amateurs, he said, at 17 instead of 19. As usually, star-studded audiences. They're really all around us. Dollars dripping from every facet here. The Panamanian supporters. And that's Duran's wife. So the introductions have been drawn out a bit, but referee Chris Adulu just checking that nobody slipped any lucky horseshoes in Duran's glove, or indeed, hopefully, in Hagler's, because these fellows can punch hard enough without any help. Final rundown then of the record. And the referee didn't mess around with the start on that one. So there you go now. Let's see what the tactics are going to be, how the shorter Duran is going to fight the formidable man then, Hagler, the southpaw stance. Will he try to get in close, nullify the punches? He can box a lot better than is generally believed. He really doesn't always have to move in and mug the opposition. He knows the business, Duran, as well, but it is the little fellow against the big one, despite only a pound difference in weight. We're all interested to see what kind of tactics Duran has got, and whether defeating Davey Moore, who'd only had 13 fights for the light middleweight championship of the world, really bears any relation to fighting this man. registered himself as Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and at this point we're not arguing with him. Well, experience showing there with Duran. Remember, 3 times champion of the world. He isn't just rushing in as he often did in his youth. At 32, he's saying, I think I'll let this fellow sort myself out first before I take too many chances. He's been in with right-hand forward southpaws before. That won't bother him, but I think the ability of Hagler will, and indeed the power. Both these champions are used to intimidating the opposition a bit. It seemed to me deserved respect being offered by both champions here too, as they're sizing each other up. Certainly always long in the arm, Hagler. I remember Alan Minter saying that. He couldn't believe what extraordinary reach this fellow had.
He's trying to throw that straight right hand, okay? So when you throw that jab, when he bends over, come up with that uppercut. Like you've been doing. You lean over that side every time. Yeah. Otherwise, box like you've been boxing. Catch him coming in and stay with his feet. Look at him.
So a great deal of counselling in the corners there between rounds, advising Hagler to come out and slip the punch and use the uppercut. Total destruction, Hagler. He really can box with it. He won an AU championship when he was only 18. But I'm really fascinated to know how can Duran get in closer. First punch he thrown in was a bit low, but Christodoulou ignored that, and so did Hagler, who's too busy. There's the uppercut that he tried there with the left hand, you see. The moment Duran starts to duck and move in, he'll use that. It's a formidable punch. Yes, it looks as though Hagler's saying, OK, if you're going to drop those punches low, we've got to get down to business. They may have parked those rules at the gates when they came in. Well, Hagler doing a boxing job on Duran. With a minute to go in the second. Oh, and he's using that left-hand punch as the real damaging. Came through like a lance then. Slightest bit of action coming in from the Panamanian. He's certainly got the crowd with him. Good stuff too from Duran. Remember, he's the light middleweight champion of the world, the WBA. Good second round there. And the referee has to collect the 3 judges' scorecards between rounds and hand them in to the adjudicator appointed by the WBA.
You get them now. You get them this way. Those are combinations now, right? All right. Move that head one forward. Just mix them up. Just like going in the game.
Round 3. And remember that Roberto Duran has never been knocked out. 80 fights. He retired, of course, in the second fight with Sugar Ray Leonard and had a job living that down. And that, I think, is what's the motivation with him here. But Hagler's such a consummate pro, really, that he's really got to fight out of his skin. But I certainly admire the way that Roberto Duran has got himself back into shape after losing to Kirtland Lang from England, after struggling against Jimmy Batten. Changed managership, had a doctor in the camp with him, and he really looked a different fighter. There are a few critics of Hagler who would say he's what's known as an on-top fighter, a front runner, and they're wondering what's going to happen if the going gets rough. Well, we may soon find out. There were some who thought it was a mismatch for the 32-year-old Duran to be pitched in with this fellow. But so far, I'm telling you, they're really wrong. As we thought, he's got such an animal instinct in him, Duran. He'll give anybody a fight. He'd fight King Kong on stilts if he had to. Well, if this rough stuff goes on, there's a chance that Hagler could be cut, because I've seen him cut in previous fights. And Duran will really fling himself at Hagler. The slightest opportunity and he'll be in there. He did it as a welterweight, remember, in the first fight with the great Sugar Ray Leonard, and outpointed him. So we'll take a break and we'll be back with round 4. Fourth round. And advice in Hagler's corner, don't try and knock him out with every punch you throw. Set him up. That's not the name of the game, they were saying, but that's a lot harder than it sounds when this fellow's never been knocked over. Apart from that still rather inexplicable surrender, the no-match fight with Leonard, nobody's ever had him in serious trouble. He's never been excessively punished, Duran. Hagler doing a bit of biding his time a bit, picking the punches, realising that it's not easy. As Hagler's always telling me, boxing's my business. If you cut my head open, you'll probably find a boxing glove in there. He studies every aspect. He's feinting the man now. He's trying to draw Duran's lead, and he's got it. And a minute to go in this round. And Duran not really having much trouble with Hagler's southpaw lead at the moment. He's beaten Mexican, the Colombian with that style. Duran has had the reputation of the animal-type fighter, but there's a lot of skill in this fellow. I mean, when you think of that, the amount of fights that he's had, there's not too many marks on him. And there go the crowd chants for Duran. Duran, there's a very big Panamanian section here. Have a look at some replay there. There's Hagler's round, I thought, because he was picking the punches a bit better there. So coming out early for play in the 5th round. So the cynics that said this was a mismatch have already had to eat their words now, whatever happens. Really, they're going to have to fight all the way in this mega buck championship, that if they get all the ancillary awards that they hope could be one of the biggest money makers in history, certainly the biggest at middleweight. Just stepping up a gear there now, the middleweight champion. There it is. Might be a lot of spite in this fight, but there's a great deal of craft going on as well. Little bits of chess games. People thought they would just throw themselves at each other, but these fellas are too experienced for that, remember. Hagler with 61 fights, Duran with 80. And it's an 8th title defense for Hagler. But Duran, already 3 times champion, knows all about the long-distance championship fight. And really, the punches are going in harder in this round than any of the previous ones. They've taken stock. The reconnaissance is over and they're getting down to business with a minute to go in the 5th. The referee allowing them plenty of space to try and punch at close quarters. Not call him great the moment they look at each other. For that sort of money they're getting, well, they've got to fight until they drop. Always a chance that Hagler will switch stance. He does that frequently. That's the answer to the southpaw style there, the right-hand punch that Duran threw in at the end of that round. And that really got the crowd going.
Give me that iron thing, so I can get my left hand. Yep.
I like the way Hagler is answering the corner back there. They're almost having an instruction session between rounds.
He's waiting to throw that right hand at you. He's counterfighting. He's waiting to commit.
Now, let's have a look at that in replay. There comes the right hand again, but Hagler got the best of that exchange. They're using the ice well. That's almost like a flat iron that sits in the ice bucket to get down a bit of swelling around Hagler's face. Coming out for round 6, the Petronelli brothers in Hagler's corner don't seem too excited. They've been fairly casual about it. You'll put it all together in a minute, they're saying. Remember, they've been together a long time with Hagler. They know his style. Fights out of Brockton, Massachusetts, the hometown of Rocky Marciano, but born in Newark, New Jersey. Oh, well, saying that didn't hurt, I don't think that impressed Hagler, because he knows whether the punch hurt or not. What a gutsy man, Duran. Done this the whole of his career. He's gone in, taken the play away from the opponent. He did it with Sugar Ray Leonard when least expected. See, there he's turned around, as I said he might do, and now he's back to the southpaw again. But now he's getting back to the orthodox stance, Hagler. He really must be an infuriating man to fight. Well, what an exchange this is. This is what this game's all about. That's why they earn their money. Apart from all that tortuous preparation, this is when they've got to stand there and give all and take it with a minute to go in the sixth. Could be that the strength of Hagler is now beginning to tell. Only a pound difference, but he's a genuine middleweight. Even at 11 stone 3.5, 11 stone 6 is the middleweight division limit. Now his age and all those fights going to catch up with Duran or not, as Hagler starts to turn it on in the sixth. It was always obvious that Duran was going to give it all he's got, but for how long? It's the only way he knows how to fight. Never been a gutsier fighter in the history of the game than Duran. And what a good round. A replay from the overhead view at the end of his arm, but it's still enough to hurt Duran, that right hand. Well, imagine now that's the view you would get there. Hagler off the stool early for the seventh. And I thought that was the first sign of Duran showing any wilting in the sixth. See, there he is turning again to the orthodox stance, the champion. You notice how Hagler won't walk in recklessly now. Some people would say that he does have a slight flaw there on occasions, that when the going gets rough, he backs off and takes his time. And I would have thought that was a bit of smart thinking. That's where Duran needs to be, tucked inside Hagler's gloves there, trying to work on the body. But Hagler just won't allow him. Getting the chance from the crowd, Duran. Gnarling at Hagler. One or two punches going out of bounds from Duran. Referee just reminding him of that, but I think these fighters are far too busy to be worrying about those things. Minute to go, and the old cockiness coming out again in Duran. Sheer contempt for the opposition. And really, can always do with the money, but he's not that desperate. He fights for pride. He wants to get it back after having to surrender against Leonard. a sign of blood in sight, I'm pleased to say. And I'm rather surprised with the bumping and boring that's going on. And right above me, I can really hear them groaning and moaning as they're moving in and throwing punches. And we'll take a break, and we'll be back with round 8. So then into the 8th round, and all that macho spirit of Duran, as I think, is going to be needed, because he was certainly backed up the whole time in the 7th. And he really can't bluff his way out at all with Hagler. He's got to punch his way out. Interpreter was saying that in Duran's corner that Hagler is getting tired as well. Well, I think that's more to try and spur their man on than with any semblance of truth, because that does not look like a tiring champion to me. So maybe Duran complained a bit in the corner that he was feeling a bit tired. Had to really punish himself to get in any type of top shape for this fellow. He has been known to dissipate between fights, whereas Hagler is really such a tremendous trainer. Now there's the punch picking at his best coming in from Hagler now. He's a bit looser in his work, he's a bit more confident looking, he always looks destructive. No way that you can hide from Hagler when he's putting these together. He's not looking to knock them out with every single shot. But then he'll suddenly wind up with them. But the whole time Duran keeps plugging away. But Hagler with far more now rhythm in his punches. Easier flow coming through. It's really just grit and desperation from Duran when he starts going in. There it is, as he did there. A little bit of nastiness there, and Duran shouldered his man off, and the referee reminded him of it.
So, after 8 of the scheduled 15 rounds, Hagler was seemingly in command. Rounds 9, 10 and 11 were fairly evenly contested. Let's rejoin the fight for the 12th.
12th round. And Duran knows all about this territory because he's been past the 12th round in 10 fights, but Hagler only in 4 fights. Incredible that there's a few bumps and bruises, as you would expect, a few contusions flying around, but really no severe damage, and that there's been some good punches going in. Tribute to the fitness of both of them, really. And the referee's done a good job too. He hasn't made too much of a nuisance of himself. He's given the best part of it to get on with it. And at this point there, Hagler thinks it's better to give than receive. And there you are, you're almost in there with them. I tell you, it sounds a lot of money, but it's hard work when it really comes down to it. This is the gunfighter time. As Hagler always says, I'd have just been a nobody in Newark, but for boxing, I owe it all to that. It's even been my education. Holding and hitting a bit there, Hagler. The referee letting that one go. Well, what do you know about this? The Challenger coming back in the 12th. And he's forcing Hagler to exchange punches there, toe-to-toe. Very flat-footed now, Duran. Oh, now, is there any question at all about Hagler's stamina? We're soon going to find out. He had a 15-round draw with Vito Antuofermo in a championship fight. Hagler's left eye closing. And doesn't Duran know it too? Well, he's certainly succeeded in arousing a bit of hate from the champion there. There's a bit of blood specked around Hagler's face. And it's all happening in the 12th round. Duran probably won this round. They're really going to pump him up. They've got to work on this man now. With a cut over the eye, the Petronelli brothers, there you are. They're using that ice, sort of a small flat iron called an ice well. And in replay there, Duran really spurred on, gets through the guard, turns his head away before there was a head clash.
Come on now, just watch the fucking contest. Just be sharp on the first level.
13th round, and Hagler having to face a Duran who's ready to give all in there. Absolute remarkable champion. No wonder he's had 3 world championships. I really wouldn't have given you Tutton for his chances a few times, losing to Kirtland Lang, struggling with Jimmy Batten, both British fighters. And then came back and defeated Davey Moore. And although I've got Hagler ahead, he's certainly come back, Duran. I don't think that damage is too serious around the left eye. Now remember, had this been just for the World Boxing Council Championship, the decision would have been given at the end of the 12th round. So much punching going on there and Hagler piling in. You would have thought Duran would have been marked up more by now, but he isn't. Minute to go in the 13th. If it goes 15, 3 judges, Canada, Japan and Denmark will do the scoring. Referee doesn't score. It seems as though they've saved up the best stuff for the last part of the fight too. It slackened off in the middle rounds and it really did seem as though Duran was in trouble, but he's fought his way back again. Cheers sheer cockiness of Duran there. You really have to hand it to this guy. Well, they're really side of the ropes there. This corner can see this championship is not lost. Whatever happens, of course, he will still go out a champion, Duran. But can he do it? And there really can't be too much in it now. Hagler ahead, I still think, but not a lot. And I tell you, this Duran has the macho spirit, that the primitive stuff that really arouses all the passions in the crowd. I think the sheer arrogance of the challenger must have shocked Hagler, if nothing else. He's so used to landing punches and getting his opponents over. This fella's denied him that privilege. Seems to be blowing hard there, Duran, and that's snarling back. There he is, doing a bit of play acting, as he's often done. Not too many people that have pulled faces at Hagler, I promise you that. I wouldn't even do it socially, let alone in the ring. Minute to go in the round. Referee being very lenient with them in there. As long as they're not really holding and pulling on, he's letting them get away with all the inside work. He's bleeding again around the left eye, Hagler. But he's had a good round here, though. He's unloaded a lot of punches. There they are, tidying up. Hagler then to come out for the 15th. A little bit of adrenaline cream over the eye. Using that ice iron to try and keep the swelling down. And the crowd now surging around the ringside. I hope the security can keep particularly the Panamanians away. The trumpets are blaring. And this little Iron Man of Duran coming off the stool to say, well, how about that? You didn't think I'd be here. There it is. You didn't think I'd be here for the 15th round. And for 3 minutes, Hagler must be saying, yes, but it isn't over yet. You've still got plenty to come. Sort of fight that could frighten the timid very easily, isn't it? It's had everything except the knockdowns. Well, Hagler's no doubt about his staying power. When he isolates himself in Cape Cod and works and runs on the sand, and this is where it was all needed, this hard training and the discipline of life. And Duran hanging in there with sheer obstinacy. And all the tricks of the trade that he's learned over the years. Only taken 2 counts in his career. They were brief ones, Duran. And he's certainly defied Hagler so far anyway. And it looks like he can do it. Sheer punch rate from Hagler's been impressive in the 14th, and now this one. There it is again. See that? As though he was working on the punch bag in the gymnasium. Fast punches. Can he stop Duran in the last? Duran willing to trade with him. Two great pros at their best now. Seconds. Now it is coming down to the under 27, 26. What a fight this is! Well, you couldn't hope for a greater last round than this. It's given all, and they deserve every nickel and dime of those millions they're getting. And that's it, it's all over. What a great fight it's been. And Hagler saying, I don't need to shake your hand. There's a bit of hate going on there. And as always, the ring has become a bit of a carnival, as the referee has collected the scorecards after every round and given them to the judges from Canada, from Denmark, from Japan. And the adjudicator is now making sure that he's got those points right. Duran appealing to the Panamanians.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the decision of the judges. Judge Guy Jotres scores 144-142. Judge Yasaka Yoshida scores 146-145. Judge Obi Oberson scores 144-143 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the undisputed middleweight.
Well, Hagler retains the championship, but that really was a close call. 144, 143, 144, 142, 146, 145. And I'm surprised really that there was only 1 point in it on the judges. Over to Tom Marciano.
2-1. You have a problem with your left eye. Tell me how that developed.
Well, that's probably from my old stitch. I slipped and fell in the bathroom at my home.
When was this?
That was before, about two fights before. That's just an old cut there. I felt very good. I just couldn't get off with the speed the way I wanted. I would have knocked this guy out, but I needed to work. I was in good shape, so I figured as long as I keep the jab, I couldn't get it going the way I really wanted to, because he was a little quicker, but next time I fight Duran, I'll knock him out. He's made for me, you know, but then afterwards, you don't have to knock him out. My trainer said, just beat him. You beating him, just beat him. The last 2 rounds, I came back decisively.
The question does linger, though. Why didn't you knock him out?
Well, you know, like I said, even though the man is 3-time world champion, you got to give me a little credit there, too.
Nobody's ever knocked him.
Nobody's ever knocked Duran out, so you really don't go for it. But next time, I had him going there, I think, in the last round. But a little bit more. I know what I have to do next time.
In terms of strength, how did you feel against him?
Oh, I felt very strong. Real loose. He wasn't getting, he just beat me to the punch a couple of times. But he wouldn't come at me the way how we planned, so I had to change up. That's what a mark of a good fighter, that you can still change up in the inside. A lot of fighters can't. and they're thrown off stride.
You were very effective as a righty against him.
Yeah, I was very effective, so that's why I went that way. He kept ducking under the right jab, so he ducked into my left hook, my right hand, and left uppercut half hook. So that's what was effective for him, so I kept using it.
He caught you a lot with the right hands. Did he ever rock you?
No, it never was hurting the fight. The last round, I think the puff in the eye just started to, puff up. I wanted to get to him before it closed or anything, but, he couldn't knock me out or anything. I told him he gonna hit me with that ring pole. Really, I just want to thank everybody who has helped me to make it all the way to this day. The Peter Phillips, the Rick Valentes, even the Spectrum guys, Russell Peltz, and I'd like to thank my mother and my kids and my wife for all the support. And these two guys, a happy birthday present for Goody and Pat Petronelli.
I know there was concern in your corner about that nick on your left eye, about the swelling. You came out in the 15, and you were awesome, as if to say, I'm not going to take any chances. You must have outpunched him 4 to 5 to 1.
I had to come out like that to make it successful. I don't like being here, I don't want to leave it into the judges' hands, and so even though I had to put everything together, I just had to keep them tied and keep pumping them.
Okay, Marvin, there's lots of fans out there. Look at these point totals, and they see that you won by 2 points, by 1 point, and by 1 point. Yeah, will you give Duran another shot?
Sure. Well, if the money's right and everything, sure. He draw the big attraction. Next time I put him out, though, he won't go 15.
Congratulations on your 8th defense. You are a standard of excellence at 160 pounds.
Don't nobody say I can't go 15 anymore, all right?
All right.
Great shakes. Oh, yeah.
Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Congratulations to the Petronellis as well. And so, Marvelous Marvin Hagler tonight could not overwhelm Roberto Duran when the full 15, did not win by that much, but the point of the matter is it was his 8th successful defense, and he has stopped the challenge of Roberto Duran. We do not want to go away without talking to Hands of Stone. We want to get his view of it, and he is somewhere on the other side of the ring. They're bringing him over to us right now. Of course, we'll have an interpreter as well. I might point out that after the reading of the cards, Roberto Duran, I can't repeat what he said, but he did mock Hagler, called him some names, and has very little regard for him as a champion.
Well, I'm astonished at that, Sal. I think that certainly Duran has to give Hagler credit. Hagler apparently pulled his victory out with a tremendously gutsy effort in the 14th and 15th rounds.
He had to finish well, and he did say he didn't want to take any chances. He boasted that he could knock him out, but in fact he did not. Here comes Roberto Duran, who was booing Marvin Hagler because obviously he feels that it wasn't that much of a problem, although he did come out on the short end of the score. I want to ask Roberto, in terms of strength, how did he feel against Hagler?
En términos de fuerza, ¿cómo te sentiste contra Hagler?
Yo me debilité un poco en el quinto asalto cuando me rompí la mano derecha que me la lastimé.
I did get weak in the 5th round because I did hurt my right hand.
When was this? In the fight?
In the 5th round.
Sí, pero yo no me ponía a hacer fuerza con él. Yo lo que hacía es irme con los golpes de él porque él tenía los remos un poco más largos que yo.
I wasn't trying to overpower him because he does have a longer reach than I do.
Me confundió un poco nada más por ser zurdo, pero no mucho.
I was a little confused because he's southpaw.
Pero no me pudo hacer nada.
But he didn't do anything to me.
Never hurt him?
Nunca me puso mal, dile.
I was never hurt in the fight.
So after going 15 rounds with Hagler, what's his opinion of him?
Tu opinión después de 15 rounds contra Marvin Hagler.
Yo soy mejor que él.
Eres mejor. I'm better than you.
Considering that he lost by only 2 points on one card, by 1 point on another, and by 1 point on the other, obviously it was close. Does he feel that he deserves a rematch?
Dice que en los 3 jueces perdiste por 1 punto en cada juez, que si tú piensas que mereces la revancha.
Yo no sé, la verdad que...
Si le pagan otra vez, yes. If you get money, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
But you didn't feel that as a middleweight that you were overwhelmed. You were in this fight every minute.
Tú, como peso medio, estuviste en esta pelea hasta el final.
Gracias, thank you. Thank you.
Does he feel that maybe he lost in the last round?
Que tal vez perdiste la pelea en el último round.
No puede ser que me cansé un poco, ya de los últimos 3 asaltos me cansé un poco. Por falta un poquito más de condiciones me faltó nada más, eso fue todo.
I needed a little bit of extra conditioning because I did get tired in the last 3 rounds.
Las narices se me taparon.
My nose got stuffed and I got tired a little bit in the last 3 rounds.
I know we're only moments after the fight, but what does he want to do next? Does he want to continue on as a junior middleweight or still go after Hagler?
Los planes de seguir como peso medio liviano o otra vez mediano.
Yo voy a descansar un rato y voy a hablar con mi apoderado después.
I'm going to rest, I'm going to talk to my manager, Luis Espada.
A valiant challenge by Roberto Duran. And in a way, congratulations too.
Well, in his turn, Duran apparently said that he hurt his hand, but that he was not troubled at all by the power of Hagler's punches. And so while the dust is still settling after this 15-round battle, thoughts of an expensive